Language in Canal International. I'm called Maureen T. We begin with our top stories. Medics have warned Cameroonians to stay off some careless practices that result to hypertension. The disease has been diagnosed or described as a silent bird, a fast killer, and as Cameroon commemorates the 3rd National Hypertension Day this August 3, we'll give you more on some of the statistics around the disease. And over 35 boards of directors and specialized committees of some microfinance institutions have been drilled on tools to use in carrying out proper evaluation of the governance system in their respective enterprises. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Close to 10 shops have been burned to ashes by ravaging flames at the Kunu market in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The traders are in tears as the incident happened this Thursday morning. It started like a joke, and in a twinkle of an eye, the building started falling one after another despite the rapid intervention of firefighters and the population. Material damage has been evaluated to millions of francs CFA. Few were lucky to have removed some of their goods. Others could not take off any goods from their shops. The cause of the fire incident is yet to be established. We'll come back to that in our subsequent edition of Newscast. An exchange on how to handle challenges in the implementation of inclusiveness in policies, strategies, and tools of governance is underway in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. The initiative by the UN Center for Human Rights and Democracy is in line with their objective of leaving no one behind. More with our reporter, Beatrice Gamu.
Rupture in living together, governance and development are due to exclusion, the bedrock of inequality, vulnerability, discrimination, injustice, hatred and violence rife in our society today.
À faire en sorte que le vivre ensemble
this in order that living together should be our daily actions, and that hate speech and moves to violence, the cause of all the war, destabilization of our institutions and society, be handled with all it takes here in Cameroon. Inclusion has been at the center of ELECAM's policies and actions.
We can't talk of one man, one vote without taking into account the inclusiveness of all citizens in the electoral process. If everybody on a voting age has the right to exercise their constitutional right to vote, the thematic of today comes in line with the aspiration and the vision of Elections Cameroon.
There is no sustainable development promising stable social development if it is not inclusive, as the opinion of each and every one counts. That does not take into consideration the preoccupation of all the vulnerable groups, notably women, children, the youth, persons with disabilities, the aged, indigenous population, the poor and needy, who represent a great majority of the population. Holding under the theme, Inclusiveness as Engine of Democratic Governance, the United Nations Center for Human Rights and Democracy incites preliminary consideration with the officials of social affairs, ELECAM, National Commission on Human Rights, National Communication Council, the National Bilingualism Commission, and Platform of Inclusive Society.
Some 35 board of directors and specialized committees of some microfinance institutions have been drilled on tools to use in carrying out proper evaluation of the governance system in their respective institutions. The focus of a training today, August 3, in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Beatrice Gamo completes that story for us.
They are made up of board of directors, corporate officers, and specialized committees, newly equipped with skills to better govern the financial institutions. This year, the workshop has as objective to reinforce capacities to facilitate a better understanding of steps and procedures involved in the evaluation of governance for better results.
In order to give them tools to help them to carry up evaluation of board of directors, evaluation of administrator, evaluation of specialized committee member, and evaluation of team management.
In the course of the training, it was important to revisit the laws on microfinance institutions in the CEMAC sub-region, regulated by the Central African Banking Commission, COBAC, adopted in 2017, which has this far witnessed improper implementation. The participants affirm to have been in the dark when it comes to proper governance evaluation in microcredits, but have gotten their doubts clarified.
After this training, we are going to obtain the tools and we are going to have our own meetings. We will review the tools and, if possible, add some elements which you can make and carry out evaluations will be very effective and very useful for our microfinance institutions.
Implementing knowledge gains in their various areas of function, the sole goal.
This has permitted me to see how to make it durable.
The principal goal, as said, is not only to create a micro-lending institution, but to know how to properly manage, govern, and evaluate it in order to attain expected results.
Medics have advised Cameroonians to stay off some careless and nasty habits that result to hypertension. The disease has been described as a silent but a fast killer. And as Cameroon commemorated the 3rd National Hypertension Day this August 3, our reporter Hysen Chia went finding out the risky factors from a medical practitioner. His story.
Hypertension has proven to be one of the silent but rapid killers with deplorable statistics.
Hypertension actually affects at least 1/3 of our population. That makes around 5.5 million people who are affected. Hypertension is really the #1 cause of death world globally due to hypertension. So it's actually not just a serial killer, but also a silent killer. But the most important is that 2/3 of these people having hypertension do not even know that they have high blood pressure, because it has no symptom until it presents with complications. And because they don't know they have high blood, so they don't take medications.
Also known as high blood pressure, the medical condition that leads to premature death is caused by a number of risk factors.
Smoking, including excessive alcohol drinking, poor physical activity or physical inactivity, putting on weight, overweight and obesity. But we should also know that as far as our age increase, there is an increased chances of having hypertension.
And as Cameroon observes the 3rd National Hypertension Day this August 3rd, Cameroonian cardiologists reiterate on measures of prevention.
Being more active, not smoking, not drinking alcohol excessively, and watching our weight. And for those who already have risk factors, it is important to meet their doctors so that the risk factors can be under control. And for those who are already having complications, we encourage you to take their medications.
And this edition is placed under the theme, a better management of hypertension in 2023 to reduce heart attack and strokes.
And in continuation of our series on World Breastfeeding Week, our newsroom took interest on women, on how women associate the exercise of breastfeeding their babies and going to work. Different women have adopted different schedules that can permit them meet up with such motherly demand while working. High Sencha and student journalist Paloma Sama, when talking to some nursing mothers, their story.
Adhering to an inclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months can be challenging for working mothers, especially when they resume work after maternity leave. Nursing mothers rapidly start experiencing early weaning as they have higher probabilities of giving up on breastfeeding prematurely. Even when such mothers wish to continue the process, they face work-related obstacles that hinder them. However, the mothers are forced to derive combined strategies to breastfeed their babies while working or studying. A little planning solves everything.
If I breastfeed the child in the morning, the child can now spend the whole day by taking artificial milk. I have a maternity leave of 3 months, and after that, I can already start giving the baby mixed food progressively.
While some prefer mixing breast and artificial milk, others find it difficult weaning their babies at a tender age.
When I started giving artificial milk, baby constantly fell sick. The baby refused each time I gave artificial milk. He kept on vomiting. He did not like it.
Some of them on the streets of Yaoundé, the mothers say they give preference to their children, no matter the work demands.
When I gave birth, I stopped working. And when I stopped work, I have to breastfeed my child normally. I can lose my baby, but not my work.
I breastfed my first child for 6 months, the second 6, and the last one 1 year, 2 months.
It is worth reiterating that medical personnel
and many nurses, they still find it difficult. Midwives are raising awareness.
When breastfeeding, alcohol is not good because alcohol can go and the child can also affect the child mentally.
Yvonne now masters the best method of breastfeeding her child. According to Yvonne, she was still ignorant on the breastfeeding art. Like her, Nadesh, who came to vaccinate her child, benefited from this campaign organized by midwives in Douala on the best methods to breastfeed a child.
I was just coming today to vaccinate my child, but reaching here, I discovered that there's a workshop that has taught me how to take care of my newborn baby up to a certain age. That means how to breastfeed the child. I was just breastfeeding the child anyhow, but now they have explained to me that there are different positions to breastfeed the child and make the child comfortable while breastfeeding. They have also explained to me why it is good to give the child breast milk for 6 months, because this breast milk will help the child in the development of the brain and even to fight diseases that might come to affect the child.
Lorsque tu donnes du lait maternel à l'enfant et tu ajoutes de l'eau, ce n'est plus l'allaitement maternel exclusif. On ne devrait pas le faire. Donc, ce qu'on doit le faire jusqu'à l'âge de 6 mois.
According to obstetricians, babies that are well breastfed grow without major health challenges, especially from the period of birth till the 6th month. Scientists equally attest that breast milk contains colostrum, which develops the child's brain and cognitive development. Breastfeeding best practices ensures good nutrition, reduce poverty, and food security for babies.
I can preserve my baby's milk during the time I'm going to work, because I usually work, so they have taught me the different ways to preserve the milk so that in case I'm not there, somebody who is taking care of the child can give the child. I will share with my neighbors, my friends who are also breastfeeding mothers, so that they too can learn how to take care of their children till they grow up.
A step-by-step skill that all new lactation mothers need to master for the breastfeeding journey to go smoothly. The benefits of breastfeeding is to the mother and baby alike, moments of bonding.
Some elites of Poli in North region of Cameroon have called on other elites of the region to join the Hanya Cure campaign in at saving the lives of men who say they are constantly stigmatized in society. The surgery performed can be linked to the gradual implementation of universal health coverage. More in the following story. The Hanya Cure campaign has enabled more than 42 patients to benefit from the operations organized at the Poli district in the north region of Cameroon. A cure campaign that restores the health of several men who had gone through untold tales of stigmatization in society. The surgical removal of the hernia took place in the presence of the Secretary of State for Defense in charge of war veterans and victims of war. The campaign is an initiative of elites of Faro who see the healthcare actions as a means of reinforcing proximity healthcare to population.
And we are appealing to the technical persons here in the Faro to submit to us this kind of projects. which can be helpful to our people.
The surgery performed can be likened to a gradual implementation of universal health coverage. Hernia occurs when an organ or fatty tissue squeezes through a weak spot in a sounding muscle or connective tissue called fascia. They often occur when the abdominal wall is weaker, such as in the abdomen or guion, and can have various causes. In some cases, they need emergency treatment. And we talk about the occasion of the 109th anniversary of the assassination of the Sawa hero Rudolph Douala Mangabell and his secretary Adolf Ngoso Ding, in particular the Canton Bell, are organizing a series of activities to celebrate these martyrs who demonstrated their love for their homeland. Various activities of this week of commemoration were communicated, some of them prayers, a meditation, and the of the Kings and thematic conference on the rehabilitation process of Rudolph Douala Mangabell. So we'll come back to that in a subsequent edition of Newscast, and which on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is The Brief with Lil Piaget. So we'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.